Imagine getting up every day full of energy as if you were in your 20s again. What would that be like? What would it be worth to you? What is your health worth to you? Think about it. Your health isn't everything, but without it, everything else is nothing. And yet, too many of us are taking it for granted until something goes wrong. And no one wakes up hoping to be diagnosed with a disease or chronic illness. And yet, we've never been taught how to be proactive in our health through our school or public health. As a registered health coach and integrative health practitioner, I believe it's time this information is made available to everyone. Combining new knowledge around your health and the ability to do my functional medicine lab tests in the comfort of your own home will allow you to optimize your health for today and all your tomorrows. Don't wait for your wake-up call. Welcome back to another episode of the Don't Wait for Your Wake-up Call podcast. I am Melissa Deely, your host, and very excited to be back here with a solo episode. Today, we're going to be diving into the inner workings of your brain and how it processes information. But before we do that, I just want to share a wonderful testimonial that I received recently from my Learn Self-Hypnosis Masterclass. And this testimonial says, I have been raving about the Self-Hypnosis Masterclass. I have seen noticeable shifts in my productivity from our work last Friday. My suggestion was around giving and receiving love. And what a suggestion is the suggestion that you give to your own unconscious mind during hypnosis. I just want to explain that to the listeners here. And she says, for the first time in so long, I had an extremely productive workday today. I was able to set clear expectations for what I would do, and I didn't beat myself up for things that didn't get done. I simply scheduled them for later in the week. I also saw some household things that I'd been neglecting. I was able to prioritize them over work. I know that my husband's love language for receiving love is acts of service, so it is related to my suggestions. My focus and happiness increased so much that Ron asked me, what was going on with me today? Laugh out loud. I admit that I was hesitant and fearful about hypnosis in the beginning, but the approach you took in breaking down the myths, sharing the history, and really making the information relatable before diving into the practice made me comfortable. I also appreciated being in a small group that I felt safe with. You shared so much information and reminders that I could put into practice immediately. For instance, I'm going to be much more aware of what I watch on TV and listen to before going to sleep. Thank you so much. And that's from Aisha in Philadelphia. So thank you, Aisha, for sending in that testimonial. I very much appreciate it, and I'm so happy that you got so much out of the Learn Self-Hypnosis Masterclass. So now diving into episode 103, I have a question for all of you listeners. Did you know that you are literally creating your own reality every minute of every day? And that if you don't like it, we can change it. Have you ever stopped to think about that? I know I hadn't before I did my NLP and hypnotherapy training in 2022, but now I get it and I want to share it with you. This is so important to know because if you are feeling stuck in some aspect of your life, I want you to know how easy it is to get unstuck. And it was literally something that I never thought about before. I thought that if I had an experience, say going to a concert, going skiing with friends, whatever it was, that everybody else's experience around me was the same. But that's absolutely not the case. And I love diving into this, and I'm excited to share it with you because maybe you're just like me and you have all of these experiences in your life and you never stop to think about how different other people's experiences can be to your own. And so you might be asking, but why? How does that happen? And that's what I'm here to share with you today. But let's back up for a moment. I want to introduce you to your unconscious mind, as this is the part of our mind that we work with to change your reality and get you unstuck. You have both a conscious mind and an unconscious mind. And the conscious mind has access to approximately 10% of what is accessible to the human brain, while the unconscious mind has access to the other 90%. So if you are trying to do everything using your conscious mind, you are doing it the hard way with less resources available to you. Did you know that all learning, all behavior, all change is unconscious? And yet in school, kids are often pulled out of their unconscious learning state, which looks a lot like daydreaming, back into their conscious mind by teachers who don't realize that all learning is done in the unconscious mind and that they were actually learning a lot more sitting at their desk in that daydreaming state. Your conscious mind is your goal setter, your logical thinking, problem solving, planning, executing mind. Your unconscious mind is your goal getter, your feeling mind, responsible for all autonomic function and your health programs. It literally keeps you breathing, your heart pumping, your digestive system breaking down your food and sending nutrients to your cells every second of every day without you ever giving it a second thought, because it's unconscious. Your unconscious mind is also responsible for storing your memories. Every experience you have ever had gets stored in the filing cabinet of your unconscious mind without judgment. It's filed for future access by the conscious mind. The unconscious mind will also suppress traumatic experiences and only offer them up to the conscious mind to process when it deems it is safe to do so. And this is why soldiers get PTSD only after they return home from war. Now, your unconscious mind receives 12 million bits per second of data coming in through your senses: visual, auditory, feeling, smell, and taste. That's a lot. And guess what? Back in 2003, it was only 2 million bits per second of data that your unconscious mind had to process. That's how much our lives have changed since we all started using devices all day long, from computers to phones to iPads, etc., etc. And even at 2 million bits per second in 2003, it was still way too much for your brain to deal with. And so your brain deletes, distorts, and generalizes it down into a manageable amount of roughly 128 to 134 bits per second. Your brain deletes, distorts, and generalizes using your filters. And your filters are as unique to you as your fingerprints. The categories are the same for each individual, but the information stored within each filter is unique for every person. Your filters are things like your memories, your language, your decisions, your values and beliefs, your attitudes. You can see how individual all of those are. You know, language is something that's fascinating. If you play that game as a child where you say one word and then everybody else calls out the first word that comes to mind, well, that word can be different across 10 different people. And we've all experienced that. Your decisions, of course, are different across friends and family members. Your values and beliefs are different from friends and family members. And we start developing our values and beliefs as infants and we learn them from our parents. But as we grow older, we develop our own values and beliefs and they change through our lifetime. You also have your meta programs as your filters. And those are things like, are you an extrovert? Are you an introvert? Are you a thinker? Are you a feeler? And these are programs that we're born with. And then time, space, matter, energy are also filters through which our brain processes our experiences. So once the information from the experience has been through these filters, your brain then creates an internal representation or a movie screen in your mind's eye. You literally have a movie screen of your entire life that you can scroll back through. You can do it now. Take yourself back to your last vacation, to the hotel you stayed in, or an attraction you went to, maybe a restaurant or a bar that you really enjoyed. You can do that and you can immediately see it in your mind's eye. And all of this processing that the brain does happens in microseconds, even though it's taking me several minutes to explain it to you. Your movie screen, once your brain's created that for you of the experience, then impacts how you feel. A happy memory pulled up in your mind's eye will create happy feelings. A sad memory pulled up in your mind's eye will make you feel sad. These feelings impact your behavior as you have a different set of behaviors for when you feel sad versus when you feel happy, or perhaps when you feel tired versus when you feel really energized. So you can see that how your emotions impact your behavior. Your feelings also impact your physiology. If you're mostly happy, then your immune system is actually stronger, and research shows that you will live longer. If you tend to the side of depression, this gets stored in your body and weakens your immune system, which is also fascinating here because the emotions aren't kicking in at all until after the brain has processed the experience via your filters and created the movie in your mind. Only then do the emotions kick in. So, do you see how each experience you have is actually creating your reality? All your experiences are literally your perception of them. And if you don't like that reality, we can use timeline therapy, hypnotherapy, and other NLP techniques to change it for you. And where do we create that change? You guessed it, right in the unconscious mind, because that is where all lasting change happens. There is no point relying solely on willpower. It simply doesn't work, as it is only using the conscious mind. And remember, all change happens in the unconscious mind. Have you ever wondered why by the middle of February, 80% of the people have given up on their New Year's resolutions? It's because they're relying on their conscious mind. If they knew to use their unconscious mind, they'd have a lot more success. You are here. And so now you know this, and you can start using your unconscious mind instead. So let me give you a real life example of all of this to wrap your head around it. 3 little girls are walking in a park, and a snake slithers across the path in front of them. And the first little girl, she shrieks, "Snake! Ah!" and runs away. The second little girl sees the snake and thinks, "Oh no, someone is going to step on you," and bends down and gently picks up the snake in her hands and then walks over to the grass at the side of the path and puts the snake down so that it won't get stepped on. And the third little girl looked at the snake and didn't react at all. So what's happened here is that the first little girl's filters told her to be afraid of snakes. The second little girl's filters told her that all creatures, no matter how big, small, scaly, or slimy, should be cared for. And the third little girl had never experienced a snake before, so she had no filter for it yet. But now she's had 2 opposing experiences that are now going to be in her filters for next time. And the one that had the biggest emotional impact on her is the one that her brain will draw upon next time she sees a snake. So do you see how we have one experience of a snake slithering across the path and 3 different realities based on the girl's filters? So the stories they go home and tell their parents that evening will be 3 completely different stories because they all created their own reality. Crazy, right? But it makes sense. So it's actually why in Canada, the RCMP no longer allow eyewitness testimonies in court for motor vehicle accidents because you can have 3 eyewitnesses of the same accident telling 3 completely different stories. Is this something you've ever thought about before? I know before I did my training, I never really had. And I think that it's absolutely fascinating how our mind works. And I love the fact that if we don't like our version of reality, we can change it, which means we never have to be stuck. I recently participated in a Grand Connection gift giveaway program, and I gave away a complimentary session to people to remove one trigger food. So basically, if there is a food that once you start eating it, you can't stop it, we can simply remove it so you no longer even want it. You know, that bag of chips, that flavor of chips, it's so good. You open the bag, you eat the whole thing, and you don't even know how you ate the whole thing. Or maybe it's a box of cookies, or maybe it's a bag of brownies. Whatever it is, that trigger food that you love, you can't stop eating, but you know it's not good for you. And so you really don't want to keep eating it. Well, that is where we can use a technique called mapping across. And we map across the food you really don't like in your unconscious mind. So when you think of the food you used to like, you instead get the feelings of yuck from the food that you really don't like at all. And this has you no longer wanting that food that you ate too much of. I've actually done over 20 half-hour appointments in the last few weeks removing trigger foods for people from things like Pringles or Cheetos or Pepsi or Snickerdoodles, and replacing them with foods that they don't like, such as liver and olives and green peppers and Dr. Pepper. It's an amazingly quick and powerful technique. And immediately upon completing the session, people found they truly no longer desired the food that they once couldn't stay away from. And this is how we do things with ease using our unconscious mind, instead of relying on willpower and our conscious mind, because we all know that simply doesn't last. So another powerful tool to use with our unconscious mind is the hypnotherapy. And with hypnotherapy, we're actually using both the conscious mind and the unconscious mind as one. The hypnotherapy gives us the opportunity to change your physiology or change your behaviors as we change your reality. And what we do is we determine what it is that you want, and then we create suggestions to your unconscious mind. So remember at the very beginning when I was reading that testimonial, Aisha had created suggestions around receiving and giving more love. So we create the suggestions around what it is that you want. And then we give those suggestions to your unconscious mind to make them happen. Your experience with hypnotherapy may be stage hypnosis, which is meant to be funny. And so the hypnotist will often have extroverts carefully selected from the crowd do silly things. Whereas in hypnotherapy, the work isn't about you doing silly things. You are always in control. And the suggestions to your unconscious mind are created based on exactly what you want to be changing in your behaviors. You already spend 90% of your day in trance. Your brain knows how to do this. The difference is that under hypnosis, we are using the trance state to affect positive change in your life by giving your unconscious mind the suggestions to do so. Hypnosis is so powerful and the potential is truly unlimited. Back in 1958, the US Medical Association did a survey of psychotherapy literature and revealed the following and published it in the American Health magazine. The treatment called psychoanalysis, they discovered had a 38% recovery after 600 sessions. Whereas using behavior therapy, they discovered that it had a 72% recovery after 22 sessions. And with hypnotherapy, they discovered a 93% recovery after just 6 sessions. Would you rather do 6 sessions or 600 sessions to get the results you want? If you aren't getting the results you want, it's because you're doing it the hard way using only your conscious mind that can only access 10% of your brain. When you instead choose to tap into the other 90% of your brain, you'll find it much easier to get the results you want. So my question to you is, do you want to do it the easy way or the hard way? I actually run 2 hypnosis group classes now. The first one is the Learn Self-Hypnosis One-Day Masterclass, which teaches you how to put yourself into trance and give suggestions to your unconscious mind so that you can do this for yourself anytime, anywhere. How empowering is that to be able to work directly with your unconscious mind to affect the change that you want to affect in your life? That's huge, right? And it's a super fun class. The second group program that I run is a weekend designation course for coaches and practitioners that might want to start using hypnotherapy with their clients one-to-one in order to help their clients get the results they want, the easy way, and to be able to get those results much more quickly. So I've put the links to both programs into the show notes and would be happy to chat or reply to emails if you have questions about either of these programs. I also offer one-to-one hypnotherapy sessions to my clients looking to create lasting change and do it the easy way as well. I absolutely love this topic. I could talk about it forever. And today, I hope I've opened your mind to the fact that you are creating your own reality all day, every day. And if you don't like it, let's change it for you. 2022 was such a big year for me in terms of my focus on learning and adding all of these tools to my tool belt. And I love that I've done this because of the ability it gives me to help people truly get the results that they want. And I just want people to know that you don't have to be stuck. If you're struggling with a health issue, all of these tools will help you address that health issue. And when you have a health issue and you have symptoms that are showing up in your physical body that might have led to a diagnosis, know that those symptoms have already moved through your spiritual, your mental, your emotional body before they even got to your physical body. And so we need to not only help your physical body heal, but we need to address what's going on in the emotional body and the mental body and the spiritual body in order to release all of that stuck emotion, et cetera, all of the mental toxicity, spiritual toxicity, so that you can have true and lasting healing and you don't end up right back where you were a year from now or 2 years from now. And that's what all of these tools allow me to help you with in your healing journey. So please know that you really don't have to be stuck. You can always take action to create the change that you want that will have you moving forward again in any aspect of your life, whether that's career, relationships, finances, your spirituality, your health. Please reach out to me if you'd like to know more, and we can hop on a complimentary discovery call together. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about this work and the ease with which we can create this change for people. So thanks for listening. If this episode resonates with you or you know someone that needs to hear it, please share it. And I will be back next week with another amazing guest to share with you. Thank you for listening to and supporting the Don't Wait for Your Wake Up Call podcast. Would you like to have access to a tool that works with the power of your unconscious mind? That means you no longer have to rely on willpower to create the change in your life that you want to change. Sounds amazing, right? It is. And I can teach you how to do this through my one-day self-hypnosis masterclass. When you use the power of hypnosis, which is essentially giving suggestions to your unconscious mind while in a state of trance, and your mind already knows how to go into trance because we are actually in trance 90% of our day. It's just with hypnosis, we're giving our mind these suggestions of what it is that we want to achieve. You can hypnotize yourself into better health, into joy, into passion, into getting to the gym, eating better, living a healthier lifestyle, whatever it is that you're wanting to achieve that until now you've been relying on willpower and perhaps falling off, we can make this happen quickly, we can make it last, and we can make it easy because we're using the power of your unconscious mind. So if you'd like to learn more, click on the link at the bottom of the show notes to my link tree, go to the one-day self-hypnosis masterclass. All the information's there. It is a super low cost price for this one-day session that is super fun, loads of interaction and practice for you, and you will have this knowledge and this skill for the rest of your life. You are worth it. and you will love it. Would you like to have access to a tool that works with the power of your unconscious mind? That means you no longer have to rely on willpower to create the change in your life that you want to change. Sounds amazing, right? It is. And I can teach you how to do this through my 1-day self-hypnosis masterclass. When you use the power of hypnosis, which is essentially giving suggestions to your unconscious mind while in a state of trance, and your mind already knows how to go into trance because we are actually in trance 90% of our day. It's just with hypnosis, we're giving our mind these suggestions of what it is that we want to achieve. You can hypnotize yourself into better health, into joy, into passion, into getting to the gym, eating better, living a healthier lifestyle, whatever it is that you're wanting to achieve that until now you've been relying on willpower and perhaps falling off. We can make this happen quickly, we can make it last, and we can make it easy because we're using the power of your unconscious mind. So if you'd like to learn more, click on the link at the bottom of the show notes to my link tree, go to the 1-day self-hypnosis masterclass. All the information's there. It is a super low cost price for this 1-day session that is super fun, loads of interaction and practice for you, and you will have this knowledge and this skill for the rest of your life. You are worth it, and you will love it.